Hey guys, this is Michaela with I Deserve It. Welcome. This is pretty cool because this is actually my first video episode. And if you're just listening on a podcast, then obviously you can't see. But if you're on YouTube, then hey. I've been wanting to do this for a while. It just, long story short, looked really shitty every time I tried. So, I actually got a new ring light and I can attach my camera, my phone, my GoPro. It's really cool. I'm actually using the GoPro today. It looks pretty good. I left my camera in the car, so I thought I would try it out. But yeah, so here we are. This week we are talking about all things confident. Everything that has to do with confidence and positivity and motivation. And I just feel like probably some people really need that little boost. So, what I'm hoping is that you listen to this episode and then you just shut it off and go conquer the world because that's how good you feel. Uh, there's just a lot going on in my life right now, and I'm feeling super inspired. So, I'm hoping that I can reciprocate that to you guys. So yeah, let's get it started. Struggle with feeling confident in ourselves and finding motivation to do anything outside the normal. And I portray a very high level of confidence. However, it was not always like that. And I think what really helps is to find an earlier version of yourself and compare it to the present version of yourself. And that will show you a whole world of progress and achievements and accomplishments that you've created. And I think seeing progress can really boost your confidence and make you feel more motivated. So, let's say 2 years ago. So me 2 years ago, I didn't just have a baby. My littlest baby just turned 1. I was still working in gastroenterology and I was applying for new jobs. I wasn't feeling really confident. I knew I wanted a department change. And the very next month, I got an interview at the cancer center and ended up moving like a month later. So that was like a small win for me, and I didn't think I would get the job, so I felt really good. It made me feel really motivated that I, got that transfer. Let's say 2 years ago, then I was feeling really bad. I was still in my toxic relationship, and then move over to now. So in this present moment, I am running a lifestyle blog on a website that I put together myself. I am running my podcast and all the social media with it. And I am doing influencer work, quote unquote, content creation and partnering with different brands. This life that I have now is not what I had 2 years ago. It's completely different, and it's not where I expected myself to be. I thought I was going to finish my nursing degree and stay in healthcare forever. I love healthcare. I'm very passionate about it. I just had a less than favorable experience when I moved to Hawaii. And granted, I wasn't doing patient care. I was doing some quality work. So we were dealing with patients' quality of care and payments and things like that. So it was different. It had the potential to be a good job, but it wasn't. It was awful. And more on that later. But I abruptly was done there in the second week of June. And so I remember that when I first moved here, I had purchased a real estate class for $300 something, and that's what I wanted to do. And I had hardly gotten anything done on it. I mean, maybe it's like a 60-hour course. I think I had like 2 hours done. It was bad. But because I got a part-time job bartending, and then that just kind of like took over my time, and then the healthcare job opened up, and I was like, that's my heart, I'm back in it. And then it was awful. So we went on vacation in June. We came back, and I was like, what am I gonna do now? I forgot about my real estate class. So I log in, and it's like, oh, like you only have 6 months to finish it, but we extended it a month, and now there's like 3 days left. I was like, what the hell? So I literally Monday night started on my 60-hour course, and I finished it in 3 days. 3 days I did the 60-hour course. So my GoPro keeps like overheating, and I keep having to like let it cool off, so I just decided to use my cell phone for the video. I hope it looks good. But anyway, so I finished this course in 3 days, and then it was like, holy shit, like now I have to test. So I was like living and breathing that like hardcore for a straight month, and I failed my test twice by like 2 questions, and then I got super burnout. So I've just taken the last month, not off, but I got a different study guide, and I've just been like smaller amounts of studying, not like 13 hours a day or anything. But yeah. So where was I going with that? Oh, the difference in my life now. So yeah, I'm doing that real estate thing, and I was just home not working, and I kind of just fell into doing these brand deals and content creation things, and it just started off as wanting to get some free stuff. So I would post stuff here and there, and they would send it to me. Now I do a lot of work where I create content for them, and I send it to them, and they just use it. However, I try not to like overdo my social media because people just don't care. But that was also another reason for starting my blog, is being able to put stuff in there as well. So yeah, I've just kind of developed this business for myself, and I'm like running a blog, doing a podcast, doing real estate, and it's just crazy. So, I mean, me 2 years ago to me now, the accomplishments and achievements are huge. But not everything has to be huge, okay? So I really want to focus on the small goals. Look at yourself even 2 months ago. Like, what have you accomplished in that time? It can be as small as I cooked a full meal like 5 days in a row. That's fucking huge. I mean, especially for me, because, we have the kids, and I'm home all day, and like, I'm working constantly. Like, yeah, I'm home, but I'm dealing with them, and it's just a lot to maintain all of that. I see people posting, I went to Target with all 3 of my kids and did all of this. I'm like, congratulations. That is a task. I feel like I can do it now because my kids are bigger, but like, it's hard taking your babies to the store. It's so hard, let alone like more than one. So I mean, it was really hard for me for a while to even take my kids anywhere. Like, unless someone was with me, like, I just like was not doing it. So you really need to celebrate the little things, and people don't do that, and it sucks. right? So I've noticed that when I moved to Hawaii and people noticed the new good relationship I was in, it was just like hundreds of likes on everything. Because, I mean, it was a cute fairy tale story, right? It was sweet. They were like, wow, this transition's insane. When something big happens, you'll get all of that attention. Yesterday, I actually posted something on my professional Facebook page, and it was about this other podcast. So they're called Meet Cute Box. It's actually a company that curates date boxes, and you like fill out a survey and then they go through it and then they find products that would match things that you and your significant other would like, and then they send you this box. So you can do like a monthly subscription or you can just do it one time, but either way, it's just a really cool concept, right? And so they are actually sending Gary and I a box because, you know, we just love all these like different kinds of dates. I mean, we went skydiving, we saw hot lava, we do adventure challenge books. So it's just anything but the normal, right? We just really enjoy that. So, yeah, this podcast, they reached out to me and invited me to be on their show. That's so cool. My podcast has been up for a little over a month and I'm going to be on someone else's show. That's a huge win for me. It's a huge goal of mine to be able to be on someone else's show, you know? That not only gets me known by other people so their listeners can listen to my show, but it also gets me networking with other podcasters, and they're actually going to be on my show too. So that's so cool. I post it on my professional page, right? And I don't really get a lot of interaction on that page. People don't really follow it. I'm just now more recently actually trying to build it. The link's in the comments or in the description. Yeah, it's in the description. You should follow it. But so I'll usually post stuff on that page and then I will just share it to my personal Facebook page. So my personal page is actually a digital creator. So it's a like professional quote unquote page, but it's still my personal, if that makes sense. And I can see like the insights for my posts and things like that. So anyway, I share this post to my normal page and I'm like, oh my God, like I'm going to be on someone's podcast. That's so cool. Like I'm so proud of myself. Like it's just such a big accomplishment for me. And literally a couple hours later, and there wasn't like a single like or comment on it. I was like, okay, that kind of sucks. Maybe it's because people are like at work and stuff. So maybe I'll just delete it and then I'll reshare it later so it doesn't like get lost in the feed, you know? So I erased it. I waited till, I don't know, like 6 or 7 o'clock that night to like share it to my page again, which people had seen the other one, not a lot. So I really watched the insights on it or whatever. I kept it on there for a few hours and not a single interaction. I shared it to my story. People saw it. I posted about it. No one's like, wow, that's cool. I'm going to like that. Oh, wow, that looks like a goal for her. I'm gonna comment on that and say congratulations. Not that I expect any of that, but literally it was crickets. So I was like, wow, that's kind of sad. Like it's such a big deal for me. Like it's pretty cool. So I just deleted it. I deleted the post. It's still on my professional page. I'm not gonna delete anything on there because nothing gets engagement. But it just kind of sucked, you know, because people were seeing it and they're probably just like, oh God, Michaela's posting about her podcast again. It's all she ever writes about. Or, oh, it's just writing about some other thing that she's doing. And it sucks because it may not be a big deal to you, but to me, like, I built all of this from the ground up. So I get people are annoyed with like MLMs and all of that. Like, this is my business, but like this legitimately is like mine. Like, it's my podcast, okay? It's my blog. It's my content that's getting me paid. Like, I have done all of this myself. Like, I'm fucking proud of that. That's so cool. Like, I've done all of this by myself. Nobody to help me. And people are just like annoyed. But I bet, like, I don't know, if I was like a lawyer and I started my own law firm or some like traditional job, people would think that was pretty cool. Or maybe I found out that I was pregnant or just got engaged or we just bought a house. People would probably think that was pretty cool. Probably get a couple hundred likes on that. But the small things, no, they don't. And honestly, until this podcast blows up and is on some top chart or something and is super well known and has like millions of listeners, if that ever happens, then people will care then, you know, but they don't now. And so you can't worry about other people. You have to only worry about yourself. If I let all of that stuff get to me, then I wouldn't get anywhere, right? I do this stuff because I like to do it and because I've set goals for myself and I'm determined. I'm determined to get to a certain point. So that's what I'm going to do. But I'm probably not going to have a lot of support on the way there. You know, the people really, really close to me, they're going to support me no matter what, right? Gary's always going to support me, my best friends, my family. But all the other nobodies on there, they don't care. They don't care about it. So I care, right? In a couple of years from now, I'm going to be having a lot of money and living it up, and people will be like, wow, that's cool. Or I don't know, what if my podcast like blows up and I like became famous or something? High wishes, right? But the stuff can't happen. You got to like manifest it, right? So let's say I'm some like hotshot podcaster and I'm interviewing all these like really cool, influential people on my podcast. And I'll have people on my Facebook like, oh yeah, I know that girl. Yeah, have you ever listened to her podcast? No, but you know, I know her. She's on my Facebook. We went to school together 25 years ago. Oh, cool. You can't worry about that. It doesn't matter. None of it matters. But we're here. We're here to talk about finding the motivation, right? So it's self-driven. Mine is anyway, right? Because no one else gives a fuck. I'm like, hey, I created this group for my podcast and it's just for all the listeners to be able to get information, ask questions, blah, blah, blah. There's a few people in there. No one really, they're just in it, but they're not like interacting, right? And then I'm like, hey, my podcast is launching. Everyone share this because it's just word of mouth. It doesn't cost you anything to just share it. Oh, this podcast is coming out. It might be really helpful to people. I'm going to share it. They're like, no, that's stupid. I don't want to do that. And I'm like, it's like pulling teeth, right? It's crazy. But just, I do it anyway. I'm going to keep doing it because I like to do it. So fuck everyone, right? You have to be self-driven. You have to find that motivation somewhere, and it's not coming from anyone else. It is coming from you. So get out a piece of paper and a pen, and we're going to do a little exercise I'm pretty excited about. If you're driving, then do it in your head. The first thing that I want you to write down is, what do you want? It can be anything. It can be small, it can be big. Maybe it's a really big work promotion. Maybe it's a new car. Maybe it's starting a business. Maybe it's losing 50 pounds. I don't know. Maybe it's doing the dishes every single night and not going to bed with any dirty dishes in the sink. That was a huge accomplishment to me whenever I was getting to that. I'm not always there, but there was like a period of time where I was. Write it down. What do you want? We're going to manifest this into our lives, right? It's the law of attraction. Okay. So you wrote what you want, okay? Right under that, you're going to write why. Why do you want it? Because it really doesn't mean jack shit if you don't have a reason why. I want to lose 50 pounds. Why? I don't know. 50 just seemed good. No. I recently have lost over 20 pounds, and that is because I was unhappy with myself. So I was looking in the mirror. I was feeling sad. I was looking at photos of myself. I was feeling sad. I was trying to get dressed and I couldn't because my clothes don't fit. I was feeling very sad. Now, mind you, there's nothing wrong with my body, okay? Nothing. Because there's no standard for normal. There's no standard for perfection. There's no such thing. Perfect is whatever you make it in your own brain. But there's no actual perfect, okay? It doesn't exist. So you perceive perfection in whatever way you do in your brain. Yours is different than mine. I realize there's nothing wrong with my body, but I, in my heart, wanted to feel better about myself. I feel better physically, mentally, emotionally, all of those things when I'm not that heavy, okay? So why did I want to lose weight? Because I wanted to feel satisfaction for myself when I looked in the mirror. I didn't care what anyone else thought. I didn't care how people looked at me. I mean, Gary's like, you're beautiful no matter what, because he's the best. So, I could have just been like, yeah, that's fine, but I didn't feel good, and I wanted to feel better. So I set a goal to get down to I always call it my normal weight, right? So the weight before I ever had kids, the weight I always just kind of get stuck at is 175. So I got down in 6 weeks to 175. I lost 23 pounds. Pretty exciting. And after I got to that, I was like, you know what? I really miss carbs. So I'm just going to count calories now. So I didn't full blown go back to eating whatever, but now I'm just incorporating carbs into my diet. And all of these things I did because I wanted to feel satisfaction. And I knew that that was a weight I was comfortable with. It wasn't just random out the ass. I mean, I wanted to lose 40 pounds because that's how much I gained. But I knew if I was at least down to my standard weight, that I would be comfortable there. So I made it. And that happened because 4th of July, my mom took a photo of Gary and I at this fair thing we were at. And I was absolutely disgusted looking at myself. I didn't even recognize who I was. And I wasn't happy with that. So that was my why. I knew what I wanted. I knew why I wanted it. And your why is your motivation. So without that, you're not going to get anywhere. So with finding the why, basically make a little list of your future self, okay? I don't really know how to word this, but you wrote down what you want. You wrote down why you want it. Now I want you to write, I see myself as blah, blah, blah. In the future, I see myself being healthy and fit. Okay? In the future, I see myself as running my own business. Whatever it may be, I want you to imagine the future version of yourself, and I want you to write who that person is. And this, my friends, is the law of attraction. Now, I listen to a lot of podcasts. I listen to a lot of bloggers, and I listen to A lot of business owners, like, I'm constantly listening all day long. So whether I'm working on my website or I'm researching stuff for my podcast or whatever it may be that I'm doing, I usually have a podcast on, or I'm listening to someone on YouTube tell me how to better myself at something. I am forever being a sponge for education, and the thing that they all have in common is the law of attraction, right? So you need to visualize yourself as the person you want to be. And that's hard because we are our biggest enemies, and we will constantly find things wrong with ourselves. But that's not what we're doing here. We're throwing all that out the window. You are writing down what you want, you're writing why, and you are writing down the future version of yourself. Okay? We have that. And now we have to imagine the obstacles, right? I don't remember if I mentioned this earlier or if it was during a section that I was aimlessly recording for 15 minutes and I wasn't actually recording. That happened. So if I repeat myself, I'm sorry. That's why. It's getting like so hard to track. I just keep having kids coming in here crying. Where was I at? So the obstacles, right? And I don't know if I mentioned this earlier or not, because that whole thing, but you're going to start thinking of reasons why you can't do what you want to do. So for me, my podcast was, I don't have the equipment. Okay. I don't know anything about podcasts. I don't have a camera to do the video. Well, you and I both know that this is the first episode with video, and I've done just fine without it. So my first episode was recorded on a headset. Not this one, but just like a basic like $20 headset that we used at work for like Zoom meetings. Okay. Like super cheap. And I was working out of a program that I had no idea how to use, and like learning how to edit, and it was really bad. So, I mean, like I've really progressed and I still have so much work to do, but it wasn't an excuse. I wanted to do the podcast and I did. This podcast mic that I have, I bought on Facebook Marketplace for $20. Okay. The guy was actually selling it for $40, and he asked why I needed it. So I told him about my podcast. He asked what it was about. We had a conversation, and he was like, wow, that's amazing. Like, I would love to listen to that. Blah, 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 blah. So, I mean, I got a listener out of it, and I got it for half price. Sometimes you just have to build up to what you want. So underneath everything else you have written, I want you to write the costs. So it doesn't necessarily have to be financial, but it could be a financial cost. It could be a lack of equipment. It could be that you need to go back to school. Whatever the reasoning is, put that in there, because you don't want to be blindsided. Okay. So you have written what you want. You have written why you want it. You have written out the future version of yourself in that position. And now you are writing the steps that it takes to get there as far as obstacles. So whatever the costs may be, okay? So the next thing is you are going to create a plan, okay? Doesn't have to be super in depth right now, but when we're done with this podcast, you're going to get in depth and you're going to plan it all out. So to feel inspired is amazing, okay? But it's not enough. It's not enough to just feel inspired. So you need to create like a schedule, right? Or like daily habits, something that is going to keep you on track. So I don't know if your goal is something that's years out. I don't know if it's something smaller that is like within the day or a couple of weeks. Whatever it is, you need to make the strategy on how you plan to get there, okay? And generally when we get to this point, people are like, oh, I don't know, this is a lot more than I thought, but do it. Why not do it, right? Just do it. And a huge thing for me, like years ago, was that's just going to take too long. It's going to take so long. Okay, so I didn't go to nursing school out of high school, and I didn't start nursing school until, I don't know, I was so much older. And honestly, it was just like all my prerequisites and everything like that. And I mean, I didn't finish it because I came here instead, and now I'm not even doing healthcare anymore. But it was something I always wanted to do. Like, I wanted to be in healthcare. And so I just did it because I thought it would take too long. Like, I could have done it like 8 times by now, right? I just, like, the time isn't going to stop just because you don't feel like doing something. So for those of you that have something on your list that is a career goal, right, and requires schooling and whatever, what's stopping you? You know what I mean? The time's going to pass anyway. Those 4 years are just going to go somewhere else. You're just going to waste them somewhere else. So why not make it beneficial for you, right? That's it. So for your schedule or your habits or whatever it is that you're writing down, what are you going to do this week? Are you going to apply for schools? Are you going to research? Are you going to start a website for your new business? Are you going to come up with a diet plan? What are you going to do this week that's going to help you reach your goal? And then you need to have a plan over time, like what you're going to do. Cool? Okay. Okay, so the biggest thing, I say that about all of them. One of the biggest things is distractions. You need to rid all of the distractions in your life. And so, honestly, I think that is the reason why I can advance now, because I'm in a healthier situation, and that makes a huge difference. If you're not in a healthy situation, then I really want you to focus on exiting that unhealthy situation. But for those of you that are just living your life and you want to decide your future, then for those of you that are living your life and you want to decide your future, then get rid of the distractions, right? That could really be anything. For me, I was spending so much time just like Netflix binging and wasting a lot of time doing some bullshit stuff that doesn't really matter. And now I literally live and breathe what I'm doing. And some people aren't into that, but you have to have drive. You have to find the motivation somewhere. So I get up at 5 in the morning and I drink my coffee and I work for a few hours before the kids get up, and then I just work the rest of the day, right? It is almost 7 o'clock right now, and I've been working since 5 a.m. Gary had to work late. If he is not home or he's working, then I'm constantly working. But I don't see it as bad because I have a goal and I'm enjoying what I'm doing. So it's all about the way that you make it. But rid your distractions. Is it going out every weekend? Is it endless hours on social media? Is it Netflix binging? Whatever it may be, if it doesn't fit in your schedule, get it out, right? We don't want it. So it's easy to want to jump right in and be like, next month, I'm going to make so much money. I'm going to live on my social media. I'm going to do all these things, right? We all we can all like feel inspired. And normally after I listen to someone do some kind of motivational talk, I'm like, all right, like next month I'm gonna be on a yacht, like I'm doing all of this stuff. This information was so good. And I don't know if this is like that to you guys, because honestly this episode isn't going the way that I exactly thought that it was going, but like I still feel good about it, I guess. I don't know. But every time I listen to someone like coaching me, or I don't know, teaching me something new, or trying to like motivate me, then I literally like get off the call and I'm just like, what can I do right now? And I went to this real estate event, was that like last week? 2 weeks ago? It was 2 weeks ago. And oh my God, it was the most inspiring thing. I immediately left there and was like, what can I do right now? Like, I feel like I just have to work. Like, I felt so motivated. And I was just like, all right, like, this is it. But we have to remember that we want to keep that inspiration and that motivation going. We want to keep rolling that through day to day, and remembering that this stuff is not going to happen overnight, okay? I have like a 3 to 5 year plan for where I'm at on being able to like live and not like have tons of money, but not struggle either, you know? That's a couple of years. That's a pretty big gap, right? So you want to set realistic goals for yourself, because if you try to make them too soon where it's not really realistic, you're just gonna crush yourself. You're gonna look at the calendar and you're gonna be like, oh, I'm supposed to be here today. That's not where I'm at. You don't want to do that. It's better to set your goal further and be able to meet it sooner, okay? So definitely make sure that if you're doing a 4-year program at a college, don't be like, well, I think I can do it in 3. I'm going to set my goal for 3 years. No, you're not going to do that. If you want to lose 50 pounds, you're not going to be like, well, next month I'm going to lose 50 pounds. No, it doesn't work like that. Like, you have to set realistic goals. So make the goals, keep the motivation going, right? That's good. I like to write everything on paper. That is the best thing for me. So I have a notebook where I journal in it almost every day, usually like in the mornings, and I write all of the things that I have accomplished or achieved that make me feel good. Okay, so I started off by writing, like, this is what I've done, and I have to remember to celebrate those, right? Celebrate all of your wins, every single one. When I got my first paid like brand collaboration, I'm like, okay, this is only $200, but it was $200 freaking dollars. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, what am I gonna do with this money? Like, I got that money because I posted something on social media. Like, that's cool, right? That's so cool. It's every little thing matters. Like, celebrate them all. So yeah, write it in your journal. Get a journal, and in the mornings or evenings, whenever you have time, like by yourself, just write in it. These are the things I've accomplished. I went grocery shopping today and I spent under $300. I don't know how much groceries are in other places. They're just outrageous here. Yeah, so that's a win. That's pretty cool. I tried a new diet and I lost 1 pound. Cool. That's amazing. I am really bad at drinking water, so I'm always like celebrating at the end of a day if I drink like 2 of these 24-ounce Starbucks cups of water. I'm like 2, right? Some people drink so much water, but that's a win for me. It's not something I usually do. So celebrate them all, write them in your journal, and then when I'm done writing my achievements, then I write some more goals. This is the goal that I have for this week. This is the goal I have for today. This is the long-term goal that I have, and I remind myself. And then I start writing in a future tense. I know it sounds a little bit silly, but it really helps me to write the person I want to be, right? So you just kind of have to like feel it. For example, Might Ray, I just closed this amazing deal. I just sold this $1 million house. Okay, obviously I didn't, but it makes me feel in the moment, and it just kind of puts it out there that I know that I'm capable of doing that. So you have to actually believe that you're in that position, and you have to believe that you are capable of doing that. I also like to use the journaling for just like tracking where I am. So when I said to write my goals and accomplishments for the day or the week or the month, you have to do that. So with this project, the thing that you wrote that you want, track your performance. If it helps, I'm like a crazy list person. I like spreadsheets. I like to stay organized, and I like to have my data like put together. So if it helps you create a document or something and track, put all of your goals into it. Buy a separate planner just for your goals. Write them in there. Every time you accomplish something, check it off. I mean, if you're running behind for a goal and you're shooting past the deadline, I mean, track it. Track everything. And that is going to make it so much simpler. It's also going to hold you accountable, and it's going to keep you on track. So we are our own worst enemy. I think I already said that, but you have to eliminate the negative thoughts. So obviously, if it was that easy, we would just do it, right? But actually, it kind of is. I know that it's harder when it involves other people for you to go out of your comfort zone and say, I'm going to do this thing. It makes it real because you've told someone else, but also it's like, what if I fail, you know? So just, you have to eliminate anything that says, I can't do this. Whether that is cutting off a person that is not supportive. I don't know. That was very dramatic. Whatever it is, whatever the thing is that's like holding you back or telling you that you can't do it, just like cut it out. And if you're having a hard time doing that, write it out. Write out why you think you can't, and then I want you to find 3 reasons why you can. And just do that until you run out of reasons. Because there's always going to be more reasons that you can. Simple. I think that another thing is feeling like you have something to prove. So, I mean, this kind of goes with like what I just said about like cutting someone out that's not supportive. But if you put this idea into the world and it is known by other people, some people are going to put you down for that, or they're going to think you're crazy or whatever. But I will just bet you right now that anyone that has accomplished a significant amount of goals or things or whatever, I'm sure that they didn't have 100% support. If there is ever a time where people are giving you negative energy or they are making you feel like you can't do something, then take all of that negative energy and bottle it up and use it as like energy towards being productive, right? Use it to drive you. I know that like, I don't know, when I get really mad about something, it just makes me want to do it that much more. And it's real. Like anger and hatred can be like a really good drive. I'm not saying I want you to be angry, but if if there are people that are making you doubt yourself, then I want you to take that from them and have them shove it up their ass. Okay? You're going to take it and you are just going to burn it up into productivity. You also need to remember that you are a person, and if you are making these goals for yourself, you also need to reward yourself. So, buy a bottle of champagne, or go buy yourself a new planner. Or when I got my first check from like my brand collaborations, I was so excited that I went out and bought myself some new stuff to go towards like my job. I have such a hard time like talking about it. I'm not really sure like what to say, but I'm sure I could have bought something else, but I mean, I'm building this myself, and so that was really exciting for me to be able to use business money and reinvest it into myself. So always invest in yourself. Definitely make sure to reward yourself. And when you make your first $5, go buy a coffee. Like, do something that says, I deserve it. The most important thing is push through. So right now you're probably like, I have all this on paper. I know what I'm going to do. I know why I'm doing it. And I'm motivated. And I have my schedule here. And I have all of this stuff. And then a few days from now, you're like, oh, this is a lot. There's a lot of stuff. I don't know if I want to do that anymore. I've been there. And the most important thing to do is to keep pushing through. So I am stressing to you that it is so important to just hold yourself accountable. Tell someone close to you, tell your spouse, tell your best friend, tell your mom. Tell me. Whoever it is, you need someone to hold you accountable and someone to talk to. When you start feeling down, that person can help push you. You need to hold yourself accountable. You need to write things down. You need to track your performance. You need to reward yourself. You need to remember that every goal and every single win, no matter how small, should definitely be celebrated. There are days when I don't feel like doing anything. That's not to say you can't just take a day off and take a break, because you have to make sure that you are always allowing time for yourself, which is why I actually switched my podcast to every 2 weeks, because I wasn't making enough time for myself and for my family. So keep pushing. If you need someone to hold you accountable, always feel free to message me. And if you just need someone to say, good job, I just hit my first goal, then I'll tell you good job. Everyone needs someone like that, you know? I have so much more to offer in this, but the episode's getting a little long. I think maybe I want to do a part 2. And I think that that's what I'm going to be working on. But just a heads up on what is to come. So I will be on the Meet Cute Box podcast, and they will be on my podcast. I have a special guest coming on to do an episode on sexual wellness. If you remember, about a month ago, I put a survey out. If you took it or not, I don't know. But yeah, we are doing an episode all about that and feeling confident in the bedroom, things like that. So I'm really pumped about that. And as for this episode, I think I am going to do a part 2, but I'm really excited to see what you guys wrote down. So I would really like if you joined my Facebook group, and it's in the description. And then I want you guys to tell me what it is that you want. I want to know your why. I want to know your schedule. Like, I want to know all of those things. And I think that maybe we could just all hold each other accountable, because what better way, right? So if you're kind of shy, you don't really want to post that in the group, that's fine. Join the group anyway. Send me a personal message and tell me about it. I want to know the things that you want. And I want to help you reach those goals. So, send this episode to a friend who could really use the motivation, the inspiration, and someone that could really benefit from writing these things down and really just getting it on paper in front of them. And I guess we will check back for a part 2.